Imagine walking into a house that's been silent for years. You're part of a cleaning crew, and your job is to clear out what's left behind. The air is thick with dust, every surface coated in a gray film. In the corner of a dimly lit room, you see a figure sitting in a chair. At first, you think it's a mannequin, an incredibly realistic one, left behind by the previous owner. It's covered in the same thick layer of dust as everything else. But as you get closer, a chilling realization dawns on you. This isn't a prop, it's a person. This isn't the beginning of a horror movie. It's a true story that unfolded in Belgium in the early 2000s. The figure in the chair was the homeowner, and she hadn't just passed away recently. Forensic analysis would later reveal a staggering truth. She had been sitting in that exact chair, in that exact spot, for nearly 20 years. Her body had naturally mummified in the dry, still air of her home. She had, in a very literal sense, become a part of the house. The discovery itself is profoundly unsettling, but what makes this story truly haunting is the context. This wasn't some remote cabin in the woods. Her house was situated in a busy, bustling urban area. People walked their dogs past her front window every day. Children played on the sidewalk just feet away. The mail carrier came and went, likely stuffing letters through the slot that would pile up unseen on the floor inside. Life, in all its noisy, vibrant, and chaotic glory, continued just on the other side of her wall, while she sat in silent stillness, slowly turning to stone. How is it possible for a person to simply disappear in plain sight? Think about it. For 2 decades, no one noticed she was gone. No family came looking. No friends called to check in. No neighbors grew concerned enough to knock on the door. The grass in her yard grew long, the paint on her house peeled. But these were just seen as signs of a neglected property, not a missing person. She became invisible, a ghost in her own life long before she passed away. This is where the story shifts from a macabre discovery to a deeply unsettling social commentary. The real horror isn't the mummified body. It's the profound loneliness that allowed it to happen. It's a modern kind of horror story, one where the monster isn't a creature lurking in the dark, but the social isolation that can swallow a person whole, even when they're surrounded by people. Let's break down how something like this could even occur. In a tight-knit community of the past, a person's absence would be felt almost immediately. The eyes on the street phenomenon, where neighbors naturally keep tabs on one another, would have kicked in. Someone would have noticed the unopened mail, the perpetually drawn curtains, the sheer lack of activity. A knock on the door would have turned into a call to the authorities, and the story would have ended very differently, and much sooner. But in many modern urban and suburban landscapes, that sense of community has eroded. We live closer to each other than ever before, packed into apartments and houses, yet we can be more disconnected than ever. We value privacy, sometimes to a fault. We don't want to meddle. We might see an overgrown lawn and think, that's their business, not, I wonder if everything is okay. We've been conditioned to mind our own business, to respect boundaries, and in doing so, we sometimes fail to see the quiet cries for help right next door. The woman in Belgium wasn't the only one. This phenomenon has a name, kodokushi, or lonely deaths, a term that originated in Japan, where a significant number of people, often elderly, die alone and remain undiscovered for long periods. But it's not just a Japanese problem, it's a global one. Stories just like this have surfaced in cities all over the world: New York, London, Sydney. Each one is a chilling reminder of the cracks in our social fabric. So who is she? The details about her personal life are sparse, which is, in itself, part of the tragedy. She was an individual with a history, with memories, with a life that was lived. But by the end, she had become so detached from the world that her story is now defined by its ending. We don't know if she pushed people away or if people simply drifted from her. We don't know if she suffered from mental health issues that led to her isolation, or if she was a victim of circumstance, a widow perhaps whose social circle dwindled over time until no one was left. The quiet, gradual nature of this process is what's so terrifying. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow fade. It starts with one less phone call, a missed holiday gathering, a friend who moves away, a family member who gets busy with their own life. Each one is a single thread breaking in the social safety net, and for some, enough threads break that they fall through completely. This story forces us to confront an uncomfortable question. Who in our own lives might be fading? An elderly neighbor we haven't seen in a while? A coworker who's grown quiet and withdrawn? A relative we keep meaning to call but never get around to? It's easy to assume everyone is fine, that if they needed help, they would ask for it. But the reality is, many people who are suffering from extreme loneliness don't have the energy or the ability to reach out. The isolation itself becomes a paralyzing force. The home where she was found became a tomb, not because of some supernatural curse, but because of a very human failing. It's the horror of the unseen. She was a physical presence, but she was functionally invisible to society. Her existence had ceased to register on the world's radar. The window that looked out onto the busy street might as well have been a one-way mirror. She could see the world go by, but the world could not, or would not, see her. This is a powerful allegory for the digital age as well. We can have hundreds of friends on social media, yet feel completely and utterly alone. We like and share and comment, performing a version of social connection, but it often lacks the substance of real human contact. It's possible to be digitally seen by thousands while being physically and emotionally invisible to everyone. So, what can we take away from this profoundly sad and disturbing story? It's not about being paranoid or intrusive. It's about relearning how to be a community. It's about cultivating a simple, basic awareness of the people around us. It's about the small gestures that can make a world of difference. It could be as simple as saying hello to your neighbor when you collect your mail. It could be noticing that an elderly person down the street hasn't picked up their newspaper in a few days and deciding to knock on their door. It could be making that phone call to a family member you haven't spoken to in a while, just to say you're thinking of them. These small acts of connection are the threads that weave our social safety net. They are the antidote to the kind of profound isolation that allowed a woman to sit in her home for 20 years. Becoming nothing more than a dusty fixture in a forgotten room. The story of the woman who became part of the house is a cautionary tale. It warns us that the scariest things in the world aren't always the things that go bump in the night. Sometimes the scariest thing is the silence, the emptiness, the chilling realization that someone can be right there, in the middle of everything, and still be completely and utterly alone. Let this story be a reminder to look up, to look around, and to truly see the people who share this world with us. A simple, "Are you okay?" can be a lifeline. Don't let the people in your life, or even in your neighborhood, fade into the background. Because the alternative is a horror story that is all too real. If you or someone you know is struggling with feelings of loneliness or isolation, please know that help is available. There are hotlines and resources dedicated to providing support and connection. You are not alone. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing for more stories that make you think.